I want to show you this new village building video game and how you can use it to make super fun looking fantasy town maps. Tiny Glade is a cozy village builder. There's no missions or achievements or anything. You're just building little towns for fun. And it's got a lot of awesome features. And what makes it really awesome is just how easy it is to build these fantastic little towns. So let's jump right in and start making a map. Now I'm going to be creating a version of Dragontown, the main location in my new tabletop role-playing game adventure that's on Kickstarter right now. I imagine Dragontown to be set in autumn because the town is surrounded by these magic apple orchards, and that just feels like the right time of year for a good apple harvest. Now I'm starting off, and I know this looks horrible, but I'm beginning the whole process by leveling the entire glade. I'm cutting down all the trees, but don't worry, I'll bring them all back in the end. Not all of them, but I'll bring most of them back. So I've got my map of Dragontown just from the front of the book that I'm using for reference. I'm not really laying it out one-to-one because there's not enough space in this tiny square plot in the game, but I can make a decent approximation of the actual map. I'm starting the same way I would drawing a regular town map with the geological features. Dragontown's pretty simple. There's a river that runs west to east and a hill for the castle and the graveyard. I'm tempted to go ahead and add in the roads and pathways, but in the game that affects how the buildings are constructed, so I'm saving that part for later. I think I'm going to jump straight into constructing Malamir Castle. It's the main big feature of the town. It's where the dragon mayor lives. It's fun to play around with these options and controls. They're round towers and square buildings, and it's really easy to change up the size because everything snaps together so nicely. It's cool because there's not a grid, but everything still works and fits together. It makes adding walls super easy, and you can adjust the roofs and totally change up their shapes if you need to. Adding paths and just running them straight into buildings is what creates doors. And there's some cool window options too, so you can double them up to make them bigger, or click on them to change variations like adding shutters or a planter box. Of course, there are great color options for all the roofs and walls too. I'm going to have fun mixing that up later on in the video. And now that the castle's done and I've got a good sense of scale going, I'm just going to follow my hand-drawn map from the book and start filling in the rest of the town. I don't have infinite space, so I'm going to put the named locations down first. That way, at least all the places the players can visit while they're exploring Dragontown will be on this map for sure. And while I build out this little village, I want to tell you about Dragontown and what it's all about. It's a 12-chapter system-neutral campaign, and that means it's an entire big adventure that you can play with whatever type of fantasy tabletop role-playing game you want. It's super easy to adapt to whatever game you're playing, from Tunnel Goons to Pathfinder, 5e, DCC. It works for all of them. The adventure starts in Dragontown, where the players will discover that the mayor has gone missing. A missing mayor doesn't sound that exciting, but when the mayor is a giant gold dragon that protects the entire valley, it becomes a really big deal really fast. All sorts of bad stuff starts happening, and the players can step up to save the day. And if they do, that will put in motion an even bigger adventure that will lead them underground to face off against the darkness below. And on the way, they're going to encounter all kinds of crazy stuff. Lava trolls, telepathic mushrooms, a bat cult. They'll probably get eaten by this giant worm that has an entire bug city inside of it. There's a wizard's tower that's filled with portals and astral giants and a bunch of kobolds that love making these insane traps. It's all super fun, and each of the chapters is its own location that you can pull out and use as a one-shot if you don't want to run the entire adventure. There are 80-something magic items in there, 100+ weird NPCs, 18 illustrated maps, and Speaking of illustrations, there's at least one on every page, not including the maps and the comic in the front. There are 199 illustrations in this 200-page book. So Dragontown and the Darkness Below is on Kickstarter right now. Already met the goal and are breezing through some of the stretch goals. The hardcover book and the box set are definitely getting made, and now it's just a matter of how much awesome stuff can we add to the print run. I think this adventure is super, super cool, and the box set is going to be so awesome. I really hope you check out the Kickstarter page and get a closer look. It's the first link down in the description. Okay, back to the Tiny Glade map. I'm tweaking the colors of all the buildings. There's lots of fun combos that you can come up with that look good together. It all just looks good and works together. I'm making the major locations a little more contrasty, so the exterior walls are a lighter white color. I'm making all of the roofs brighter. That way they'll stand out more from the plain houses that just get a few tiny little variations in the colors. Now, like I promised, it's time to get some trees planted again. There are lots of trees around the edge of the Tiny Glade, so I want to make sure that the edges of my map blend in. I'm focusing on putting all the trees around the outside. And really, it's pretty awesome to just be able to plop down a beautiful looking tree with one click. If I don't like the tree that picks for me, I can click Z on the keyboard and try again super fast. And now comes the fun part. Time to go into photo mode. It's really easy to zoom around and find cool angles for pictures, but what I think is really, really awesome and so satisfying is you can click this little walking camera icon and it pulls your camera down to the ground level so you can walk around your town. So I get to actually stroll through a beautiful 3D version of Dragontown. There's the castle over there and the Valorum Temple, the Tidbit Bakery and the Ugly Mug Tavern, Quinn Sundry's Market. Just walking around the town that I created. So cool. I think the most practical use is this little map icon down here. Clicking this zooms you way out and puts you in an overhead perspective. And now I can take a perfect screenshot of Dragontown from above, and I can super easily throw that screenshot into a virtual tabletop and have on hand for whenever my players are hanging out in Dragontown. Now, I've locked it on to midday, so the sun isn't changing the time of day, but you can absolutely adjust it however you want. If the players are hanging out in Dragontown at night, I can switch it to a screenshot of a totally different version of the map. All the lights come on at night. Looks really awesome. And you can even back out to the loading screen and adjust the season. So summer looks great. The winter with the frozen river and the snow is super cool. And whatever Olden means, I guess there's like rocks and tree stumps everywhere. I could use this when all the slimes and the zombies start taking over Dragontown. All in all, it took me about 2 hours to build this map of Dragontown. Not too bad while, still learning the program. It's super easy to get in there and play with it. I didn't even feel a need to tutorialize much of this just because of how easy it is. If you pick up Tiny Glade, which we'll have a link down in the description, you can jump right in and figure it out super, super easy. If you're not super confident in drawing your own town maps, this is a super fun way to just relax and build a little idyllic fantasy village just like Dragontown. And even if you're not using it for tabletop role-playing game stuff, it's still just super fun to build a little town. It's really fun and satisfying how it all comes together. I hope you check out the Dragontown Kickstarter. I'm so proud of the work that's gone into making this a super fun adventure. If you're looking for a lighthearted fantasy campaign that's filled with weirdness and danger, I think you'll really, really dig this. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya!